it that you can't get help in situations
They
like
tell you to get an attorney here, because if you look at the corruption here, the last few attorneys that people's had here have been charged with corruption. And all this is documented. Just pull up corruption attorneys in Glynn County. It'll state several other names. Pull up corruption, Glynn County, Brunswick, Georgia, Supreme Court judge, corruption, Glynn County, county commissioners, corruption, Glynn County, Brunswick, Georgia, Glynn County Police Department, corruption, Brunswick, Georgia. Look, pull it up and see for yourself what's happened in the past 3 years. So how was any man going to receive, let's just say, legal justice for his actions when the judicial system and the justice system itself is failing?
Greetings, this is the Get To Free Press. I'm George Boston Rhines, and of course, I'm near something. What's going on over there?
That's a fire for the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center.
Okay, well, I'm over here in Brunswick, Georgia, and I'm going to interview a young man in a few seconds. But I was called over here, as I'm called to a lot of areas, and I've been over here several times before on some issues. Some of it deals with law enforcement, some of it deals with the judicial system. I have another individual here that has trouble with the lawyers, the judges, and the judicial system in general, including the FBI. And so it's strange, y'all, here in the United States of America, how people, common everyday citizens, some of them are veterans, and they want the news media, the press, to publish their stories, but they can't find a press that would tell the story. MSNBC, CNN, people are crying out in the state of Georgia. They got stories that dealing with issues that is prevalent across the nation. And in the land of the free and the home of the brave, they can't get anybody to tell their story. Come here, my beautiful brother. What's your name, my beautiful brother?
Alan Brian Cox.
Mr. Brown, you're a little taller than me, man.
Yes, sir.
How tall are you?
6'3".
What's your name again?
Alan Brian Cox. Yes,
now, I was over here talking to another individual about his individual case.
That's right.
And you said to me, I got something I want to talk to you about. I don't want you to get into specific, because we're going to do that later.
Okay.
But if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what you had experienced here in this Georgia town of Brunswick. What county is this?
This is Glynn County in Brunswick, Georgia. And what I've experienced is in the past few years, we've had a total chaos of mess inside our judicial system. The corruption that's going on, everything from our Supreme Court judge being charged with criminal charges. The last 2 DAs either resigned or was fired. Pretty much our whole drug task force this past month was knocked out for corruption. And it just keeps going on. We've had county commissioners commit suicide, jump off bridges. It just goes on and on and on. Two attorneys, which I won't call their names, charged with corruption. But the deal is we're here at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center that's inside Glynn County, Brunswick, Georgia, which we also know that if that's the feds, and some of the best of our federal agents are trained right here in this location. But we ask ourselves, with all the corruption that's inside our state and city departments, what's going on inside our federal departments? Because when you go to studying inside our federal departments, you realize that the people that are running the Fed departments was actually trained by the ones that are now being charged with corruption. Okay. You go to seeing things that happen, and when I did my investigation, while they investigated, I learned a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't have learned. And with that being said, I do know that if the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center is here, and we're protected by the United States, I ask you, sir, just like I ask anybody else, what are they protecting us from, and who are they protecting us from? How come they're bringing in the National Guard to assist the county and city and state departments when they come to their task forces? This isn't a war zone. This isn't a war ground, and the citizens should be treated like war victims. We know that the feds at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center here, a lot of them role play. They come out to the streets and, well, they get an A, and a lot of people get 20 years. And I'm just saying, how far does this go? How far does the wheel turn? And if you look at it, I feel personally, if you look at the whole core of the system, it starts right here. You get a breakdown of how the wheel turns, and you see where the corruption starts. It rotates, it cycles, before you know it, well, you're at the top of the President of the United States, which is also being charged with corruption. So I ask the people of the United States, to take a look at our corruption. That's all I got to say.
Oh, no, hold on a minute. That gunshot, what is that? What is that?
Those gunshots are actually federal agents that are trained.
Being trained.
A lot of them, they won't let you know a lot what's going on out there. It's all hush hush. A lot of it are hush hush, with it being hush hush, they won't tell you a lot. But we do know that that's repetitive fire, and it's in the backyards of a residential neighborhood. Ask yourself is, where is the laws about noise ordinance? I mean, does that not pertain to you, sir, that lives in this neighborhood?
Yes, I live in this neighborhood.
Oh,
How often do y'all hear that gunfire?
Every day, all day.
Every day. Do they have an ordinance on noise?
Yeah, they have an ordinance.
Yes, sir. Turn your music up loud enough. Watch what happens.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, just for the record, once again, inside you began to tell me, and you talked about. Give it to me again. About what has happened here with? You say you had judges and that type of thing. Give it to us one more time, because I got a question I want to follow up on that.
One of our judges that helped start the drug court program has recently been charged with criminal charges, federal criminal charges, and state charges of anything from holding people against their will on down. And with that being said, it goes from the last two district attorneys.
Okay, well, before we go to the next one, can that be found anywhere online?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when we Google Brunswick, I'm gonna do a little.
Brunswick, Georgia, Supreme Court judge goes to jail. That's all.
Okay, all right, that's one. All right, so give me another one.
The last two district attorneys have either resigned or stepped down. One of them is actually current for legal purposes. We won't state names, but currently, as we speak, in the process of legal actions over a murder case that here happened in Brunswick where someone killed an infant baby. And they said that him acting as the district attorney done something wrong. He resigned immediately. The one that took over after him recently just stepped down because of the corruption case that happened inside our police department, where our local drug agents were doing drugs and having sex with the confidential informants. And
is this published anywhere in the news media?
Brunswick News.
Okay.
I've contacted other news sources outside the city.
You say you contacted them?
Yes, sir.
Why did you do that?
Well, because I felt like it wasn't reaching out far enough. You got to understand that if the federal law enforcement training centers here, obviously our city and county officials and authority figures should be held up to a certain standard. And if this corruption is happening like this, what standards are they being held up to?
Do you have any civil rights leader, NAACP, SCLC, or SNCC, CORE, or any AFA, any organizations that will stand up on behalf of the people in this community that you know of?
I'll say this. The ones that I do know of are currently incarcerated. And anytime somebody stands up, speaks out, end up incarcerated. They end up accused with allegations that's way far-fetched and out of this world. But, hey, who am I?
What do you think happening to our country along the lines of freedom, justice, and equality and the rights of individuals? How do you view the rights of the American people today in 2019?
My personal opinion? I think that we don't have rights, really. We do. They say that we do. They're all fabricated. They let you think that you have all the rights. But when it truly comes down to it, your rights go as far as the corruption goes. Mm-hmm. It goes to that level. And as a couple of brothers are standing here now, you push through the judicial system and the court system and figure that you're going to receive a fair treatment or a fair judgment. And when it comes down to it, you get brick-walled by that corruptive system, what the South calls the good old boy system. And it's still currently present in this location here now. And I think that's what we're having, is that good old boy system is finally coming to an end. But the reason it's coming to an end because the corruption is so thick. And it'd be interesting to know with the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center this year, how much funding they put into this county and this community and this city. And if they're doing that and this county and community is having the problems that they have with corruption, listen, folks, we're not talking about just everyday corruption. We're talking about the whole judicial system here, from the floor up to the bottom.
I was just talking to a young man. I had a local pastor, not a local pastor, but a pastor in the state of Georgia called me, and after talking to the individual who I came over here to assist, or at the least to gather information, that's how I met you. But my question to you is this. He told me that he filed a writ of habeas corpus to the legal system here in the state of Georgia, and they have outrightly refused to respond to him. And so my question to you is, after they failed to respond to him, he even went to an attorney, his attorney, and thought he had one, but later found out apparently that it's of no use. And they try to tell him to get an attorney here. So why is it that you can't get help in situations?
They tell you to get an attorney here because if you look at the corruption here, the last few attorneys that people's had here have been charged with corruption. And all this is documented. Just pull up corruption attorneys in Glynn County. It'll state several other names. Pull up corruption, Glynn County, Brunswick, Georgia, Supreme Court judge, corruption, Glynn County, county commissioners, corruption, Glynn County, Brunswick, Georgia, Glynn County Police Department, corruption, Brunswick, Georgia. Look, pull it up and see for yourself what's happened in the past 3 years. So how was any man going to receive, let's just say, legal justice for his actions when the judicial system and the justice system itself is failing? But I mean, once again, where do you go? How far do you take this? Because it goes from the city to the county to the county to the state to the state to the Fed, and the Fed to our president's being charged with corruption. How far do we go? And how long does the good people stand back and say, you know what? It's wrong.
Earlier inside, you said something to me that's very, very profound, and that is this. When people fail to follow and enforce the laws that has been voted into office, what did you say we end up following? What type of laws?
Moral law. You have a difference between a legal law of the land and a moral law, and that is your inner self to know that what's right from wrong. And some people that study theology, they know that different books tell us that you should know your heart, that they should be judged by the heart. And that's where we're at now, where we know that your moral conscience lets you know, hey, that's wrong. I don't care what the court system does if the court system's corrupt. I don't care what the president does. I know what I do, and what I do from my heart is good. And there's no corruption in me, and I feel like what I'm doing is right. And that's where we stand today. The legal law all over the land is collapsing as we speak. I know here in Glynn County, I can't state for that. It's documented, proven, and backed up. So with that being said, I know that my moral law lets me know what's right and what's wrong.
Okay, my beautiful, for the record, I want to thank you for being a black African American. We don't have many black folk that will speak up. Are you black?
No, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm colorblind.
I don't know what I am.
Well, I'm colorblind. I didn't know that I'm colorblind. That's the line they use. I'm colorblind. But when you say you're colorblind, you know you're lying. God gave us the ability to see the whiteness of the cloud, the greenness of the tree, the blackness, the red, the brown people. And so let us just be fair and tell people the truth, because in the end, truth, right, and justice gonna win. Now, you all say that I'm a racist. Well, I love my race, so I guess you 50% right. I love my race, but the bottom line is this. What are we going to do when the American people refuse to stand up and speak the truth in the United States of America? I served over 20 years in the armed forces, and they told me I was fighting for freedom, justice, and equality during the Vietnam era. And I want to thank my beautiful brother once again for being a voice in this community on behalf of the citizens that pay taxes and be represented by our elected officials. Elected officials, how long will it be before this country is destroyed from within? Right. Because very few people will stand up like my beautiful Caucasian brother here. I love him. And for you black folk who hate white folk, I'm going to say it again. I've said it on other videos, and I might as well say it on this one. White people, John Brown and many others, fought for me as a black man before I knew what the fight was all about.
Yes, sir.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Now, Close us out with your words. Your word will close us out.
Well, as far as my words, I think that we're coming on a day and time where things are a lot different. And I think that the people of not just this community, but the country itself need to grab a hold. Stepping into a time to where, like I said, the legal law is, most of it's corrupt, if not all of it, to where your moral heart has to guide you and lead you. I think we're stepping into a time to where color barriers are brought down to where it's the poor and the meek that will stick together, the people that's good-hearted. See, it's people don't understand it's hard for people that are in, let's just say, financial places is better than ours, to accept the fact that they don't have anything to pray to but a God. So when you don't have lights, you pray to God. When you don't have food, you pray to God. When you don't have clothes, you pray to God. When you don't have nothing, you pray to God. But these people pray to Washington and Wall Street because they have the answers for what they need.
Okay. Once again, this is the Get To Free Press, George Boss Rhymes out of Valdosta, Georgia. I've been across the state of Georgia, Bentonville, Arkansas, Louisiana, Jacksonville, Florida, all around. And I do that. I don't get paid. I do it because I love you just that much. Peace be unto you. Bye-bye, we're gone. Thank you, my beautiful brother.
God bless you, man.